Hey devs! Big news! Android Studio Meerkat is here, and it's bringing some seriously cool upgrades that'll make your workflow smoother, faster, and more efficient. If you're developing Android apps, you're going to love this update. So let's dive right in and see what's new. First off, let's talk compatibility because you don't want to get stuck with build issues. Meerkat requires AGP 3.2 to 8.9, so if you're upgrading, make sure your Gradle setup matches. This ensures your project builds without a hitch, and everything runs as expected. Now, if you're working with Jetpack Compose, you're in for a treat. The Compose preview just got a major boost. Zooming is now smoother and more responsive, which means no more choppy movements when you're trying to inspect your UI closely. You can also collapse groups of composables, making it easier to focus on specific components instead of having a cluttered preview screen. And speaking of organization, grid mode is now the default view. Gallery mode is just a right-click away, and list mode has been removed entirely. This gives you a much cleaner way to visualize your UI without unnecessary distractions. And here's something really exciting. Kotlin Multiplatform KMP support is now baked right into Android Studio with a new shared module template. If you've ever wanted to share business logic between Android and iOS, it's now ridiculously easy. Just create a new project, switch to the project view, add a Kotlin Multiplatform Module, select Shared Module, and you're all set. All you need to do is add a dependency in your Android app's build.gradle.kts, call the platform function in your main activity, and boom. Your app can now leverage shared logic across platforms. This is huge for anyone looking to streamline development for multiple operating systems. Now, let's talk about emulators because setting up virtual and remote devices just got way better. The device manager now has smarter filters and recommendations, so you can pick the best virtual device for your needs without sifting through a long list of options. If you're working with Firebase for remote device testing, you'll love that selecting a Firebase project is now just a single click at the top of the device manager window. That means less time configuring and more time testing. And if you're into AI-powered development, get ready. Gemini is now integrated into Android Studio, and it's here to make your life easier. It can analyze crash reports, helping you quickly identify and fix issues without having to manually dig through logs. It can also generate unit test scenarios for you, saving you time when writing test cases. Just enable code context sharing with Gemini, and you'll have AI-assisted debugging and testing right at your fingertips. The build system has also been refined to make things clearer and more intuitive. There's a brand new build run configuration action, which means instead of building everything, you're only building the selected run configuration. This makes development much more efficient, especially for large projects. The shortcut for this action is now Control or Command plus F9, so if you're used to pressing that for regular builds, it'll now match your active run configuration. The build menu has also been reorganized to make more sense, with the new build run configuration action at the top, followed by compile actions and assemble actions, which replace the old make actions. And to avoid confusion, rebuild project is now called clean and assemble project with tests. So it's crystal clear what each action actually does. Finally, let's talk about SDKs. One of the worst things that can happen in a project is realizing too late that an SDK you're using has been deprecated. But now, Android Studio will warn you when an SDK is deprecated and even suggest alternative SDKs to switch to. So, should you update to Meerkat? Absolutely. So go ahead, update now.